Welcome to this new video. This time I want to talk to you about SysInternals. If you've been into computers for some time, especially in the Windows environment, I'm sure that you have heard of SysInternals. SysInternals is a set of tools. I believe there are over 70 tools right now that will help network administrators, system administrators, security engineers, and security analysts to monitor and troubleshoot certain things in Windows environments. Now, these tools have been around since the late 90s, and by the tools I mean the concept. The tools have evolved over the last couple of years. And the reason for that is because Microsoft acquired SysInternals many years ago. So if you go to www.sysinternals.com, you're going to be redirected to this site. And as you can see here, they have information about the creator of the tools and different links to sections or some sites that are going to be useful to you. Now, the way you run the tools, number one, is by downloading them onto your computer. So once you are on that page, you would go to downloads and you have the option of downloading the entire suite, which is basically all the 70 plus tools that are available will be downloaded to your computer. Or you can download individual tools. If you come down here, you're going to see the tools listed in alphabetical order with some information about what the tool does. Something useful that they've been doing for the past couple of years is adding the version because they keep improving the tools as the operating systems improve or as they want to make the tools more reliable, and they also add a date to it. If you don't know specifically the name of the tool you are looking for, you can go to the categories section right here on the left hand side, and you'll see that you have different categories: files and disk utilities, networking utilities, so on and so forth. So if you know that you're looking for something specific related to a category, you can simply go to that section and then you could do further investigation based on what you are looking for. There's another option to use the tools. And that is, let me go back to downloads down here, actually, home. And that is by using SysInternal Live. And what that allows you to do is to run the tools directly from the web without having to install them or downloading on your system. So the only thing you have to do is make sure that you have the web client enabled on your computer and add the path to it, the path to sysinternal I meant, so you can download the tools and use them. So, and I'll show you how to do that. It's super simple. So the first option, as I mentioned before, is that you can download the tools. They're going to be downloaded to your computer, and then you can just run them. You can either running from the command line. So let me come here. You can either run it from the command line, right? As you could see, we have all these tools, or you can just go through File Explorer, double click on it, and if the tool has a GUI interface, it'll display the GUI interface. Some tools are command-based only. So in this case, I'm running TCP view, and it's easier for the information to be displayed in a GUI interface as the information updates frequently than having to see this over the command line interface, which you could do too. You could find the same information or some of the information in the command lines. One thing that I just want to add in here or maybe throw in here, especially if you are running the command line, is that in this case I am in the directory where I extracted the tools to. Um, and if I want to run the utilities from here, they will run with no problem, right? Like if I do, for instance, who is, it's gonna run. But if I get out of this directory and I do who is, it's not gonna run because there is no path to it. Actually, it's running because I added the path, my bad. So what I wanted to make sure you understand here is that you have to add the path directory to your path statement so that you can run the utilities from anywhere in the command line, right? So if you're here and you do whois or whatever tool you want to run, it will run. So let me just do this. So if I do, for instance, TCP view, see, so it's running even when I am not in that directory. And the reason for that is because I added that directory to my path. As you could see, it is right here. And the way for you to do it is by going to control panel systems. There's a command I forgot, but I believe it's system CPL. But I used to go away for this. Not here, certainly. You go to systems, right? Then you would go to advanced settings. Once this opens, you open up the environment variables. And as you could see here under the path statement, you can edit and then add a new, and I added this before. So I forgot I added it previously. So as you could see, you could run the tools. Now the other option, as I mentioned before, is for you to use SysInternal lives. And for that, you need to have the web client enabled on your computer so you could run it. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. But before I do, I just want to make sure that I rename the directory so we could really do this test, right? Downloads. And I'm going to rename SysInternal Suite to SysInternals Suite.old. So, and I'm gonna do the your SysInternal Suite just to make sure that it was there. As you could see, I renamed the SysInternal directory. The reason for that is because I already have a path statement in my computer. So if I try to run the tool, for instance, TCP view, you'll see that because I changed the directory name, now the only way for me to run the tools is from the directory. because of the pass statement. Or I could have deleted the pass statement. What I wanted to show you is that if I left the, the configuration, the directory, and the path statement in there, and I want to do uh, sysinternal lives, it's not going to make any sense to you because you were not going to know whether the tool is running locally or from the web, right? So I just wanted to eliminate the local configuration. So whatever we do is going to be based on the web. So with that being said, the first thing that you would like to do is check to see if you have web client enabled on your computer. So for that, you would open up PowerShell and then you would type get service, right? And we type the service name is web client and we're going to see the status. As you could see here, the status is stopped, right? So let me start that. So I'm going to do start dash service web client. And now I'm going to run to check the status one more time. And now, as you could see, the status of my web client service is running. So I'm going to minimize this. And if you pay attention to the description here, if you want to run sysinternal lives, it says that simply enter the tool sysinternal live path into Windows Explorer or command prompt at sysinternal.com and the tool name if you want to execute, if you want to point to the specific tool, or just the tools if you want to have all tools available to you. So let me come back here to the command line. Just give me 1 second. Okay, and now I have my command line enabled. So one of the ways we could do this based on the description that we see here, right? We could go to live.sysinternal.com and the tool name, tools and the tool name, or we can mount it. So let me do this. So I'm gonna go to live.sysinternals.com tools, which is the directory we want to point to. And then from here, you have to select whichever tool you want to run. So I'm going to pick pragmon.exe. And this is going to take a few seconds to run. So I'm going to pause the video until I get either the error message that it didn't work and then we'll troubleshoot, or the tool executes. Then I'll bring the video back on. Now, it took probably 30 or 45 seconds for this to run, but as you could see, I have it right here. If it doesn't work on your system for whatever reason, it may be that you have to enable network discovery. And I personally turn it off in my small test environment because I don't have any reason to have that enabled. Some companies may have may have that enabled or not. But if you try to run sysinternal live after running the web client, after enabling the web client, and it doesn't work on your computer, make sure that you have a network discovery on, right? So this is great. So now we can run the tools without having to download or install them on your computer. But there is also another way that is going to make your life easier, And that would be to maybe mount this location on your computer by mounting it. So that is useful too, right? So in that way you can search for all the tools in the original directory without having to download them to your computer. And the way that you would go about that is by using the powerful, it's not that powerful, but it's a super useful command, net use command, right? So you would net use star, and then you would point to live.sysinternals.com tools. Right, and then once you do that, you hit enter, and now you could see that we have a mapped drive letter to it, and now it says that it's the letter Z, and it says Z is now connected to sysinternal tools. So if I go to Z column and I do the IR, that's going to show me all the tools in there, right? And that is going to remain active as long as your computer and your session remains active. So as you could see, I can come right here too, and now that I am in the directory, I can run the tools directly from here, right? So if I do, let's say that we want to do there's a process psinfo 64. Again, so I'm gonna say the disadvantage of using this live version is that it takes longer for the tool to execute. But it's a trade-off that you have to determine whether you want to do it this way or the other way. So in this case, as you could see, it's gonna take about like 30 or something seconds for that tool to run. But if I go directly to the website, I mean to the download folders, it runs instantaneously, right? So as you could see, the tool executed, and here I am. So I'm gonna make the sys internal tools not a series, but I'm gonna create a couple of useful videos for useful tools. It doesn't mean that the other tools that I will not cover are not useful. It's just that we don't have the time to go through all of them, and not all of them are relevant to me. So you would have to find the tools that are relevant to you so that you can learn it and apply them in your environment. As always, I hope that this video was useful to you. If you liked it, I would really appreciate if you click on the like button, leave a nice comment, or and subscribe to my channel as I keep growing this IT best practices community. Have a great day, and I will talk to you on the next video.